Hey Tiago, this is Muhammad Ali, and I have taken a course, Building a Second Brain. We've communicated a few times, and I'd love to show you how I'm currently implementing Building a Second Brain, the para system. It's evolved with time and probably still evolving, but I think it's sort of reached a stage where I'll be using this version of it for a longer period before I make more changes to it. So let me take you through how I've implemented it, and hopefully that will be interesting enough for you to include it as a case study in your book, which I'm really looking forward to. All right, so I'm going to be focusing on these stacks over here till archive. The others are kind of legacy stacks and notebooks that I'll be sorting it away. So starting with the first one, this is inbox, and inbox is incoming notes that I still need to process. So these are probably 1 week's worth of notes over here. I'll come to my notebook a little later, as well as Slipbox. So the next stack here is action support, and as this suggests, this is basically single notes that are related to an action. So rather than putting it as a project, it just made sense to have a different kind of notebook for it, different kind of level. So that is where kind of action support is. Right? The next is called project support, right? And these are just like you've got projects. It's basically a stack of all my ongoing projects, right? And I kind of like to prefix it with an area of my life. So that's why you have these prefixes. That's how my mind works. So yeah, these are my ongoing projects, and these are all notes related to these ongoing projects. And once it's done, I push it down to archive. The next is a someday maybe. So I guess this is a change from the classic para system. I needed earlier my someday maybe were kind of lost in some notebook or tagged some notes tagged with someday maybe, and my problem was if it was out of sight it was out of mind. And because so it was very useful for me to have it as a stack. And the other reason why I give it a separate stack is it gave me the freedom to move things back and forth fairly quickly, and which is really helpful because in a world that's changing so fast, you want to kind of be agile enough to kind of drop a project, take something else, and put it back in. So these are kind of my someday maybe projects. Next is areas of focus. This is fairly kind of straightforward. Different areas of my life um, that the notebooks for those. And finally is archive. And these are basically archive of completed projects. So as and when things get done, they get pushed over here. So that way it's kind of fairly simple, but with some differences. However, there are two more notebooks I kind of want to bring your attention to. So you also might be wondering where is resources, because I haven't covered that. And that basically is this notebook that I call my notebook. In a way, it's kind of like a catch-all that doesn't fit in any of these. So uh, archive is stuff that I don't have any attention on at the moment, right? But a notebook is stuff that I have gathered over time that I need some research work, or I may need to reference, and with something that has some level of progressive summarization. And what is interesting is like this is one notebook, right? So you might be wondering, how have I categorized it? And if you kind of see over here, I've categorized it by tags, right? Like management 3.0, or in this case, attention, um, right, and other things that are out there. So I have a unique way of managing my tags. Um, so here it is. So how is it? The way it's different from classic para system is where you have a stack of notes. For me, that was a limitation because I needed a little more flexibility in terms of how it's categorized. So I primarily use a set of tags with a hash sign prefixed that allows me to organize my notes under resources or reference, in this case my notebook, using these topic tags. So basically these are the topic tags that I use. In classic para, this would be basically a stack of notebooks. And I also give the freedom to tag it with an entity tag. In this case, if a certain piece of note, for example, if it has particular author to it, I may not do a hashtag author, I would give it a person. So for example, I have Tiago Forte over here as a person, right? So all notes with Tiago Forte are here, right? And you will see that it also got other tags along with it, right? So sometimes I tag it with a person or a topic, but I found that distinction useful. Or I may even tag it with something called a doc type. So maybe it's a receipt, or maybe it's it's questions that I want to ask people, right? So sometimes I may tag it with a document type. So that is also kind of a useful um, way to categorize my notes. Yeah, so that's how I have dealt with resources. And finally, um, I have also another stack called Slipbox. And this, I won't get too much into it, but you already have done a blog post on it, so you're fairly well aware. This is the smart note system, or the note system created by Lumen. And it's a wonderful aid in terms of um, building a network of notes that aids in writing. So as I get insights from the stuff that I read, I add it to my Slipbox, right? And it uses this numbering system that creates this hierarchy of notes. Right? So it's another level of abstraction that helps in um, gathering my insights and linking it to my existing network of notes, so that when I'm ready to write something, I can just kind of tap into it, and it's kind of a lot of the hard work is already done up front. So yeah, it's just useful to have this here as a stack. And I find this pretty complete. I've been using this for several months now. The latest addition was a Slipbox. Before that, it was just this 1, 2, 4 para system. It's no longer para, so it looks like something else. Yeah, I hope you find this interesting. I would love to kind of share this with your users if you feel that it'll resonate, or even maybe have it as a case study in your book. Take care. Bye bye.